So let's get into this deeper dive video to help unpack the mindset and the psychology behind the women who make it their business and their mission to go against women who easily get the attention of men. But more importantly, we need to have a discussion on why there seems to be more and more women and abuser apologists who are willing to wage war against women who have clearly been harassed, harmed, abused, mistreated, and who have been menaced and manipulated by men who have power and by men who weaponize their flunky, groupie fan bases to attack, devalue, and crash out on other women. Hello, Chloe here, and welcome back to my feminine platform, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are a new subscriber to our soft power community, then hello and hi and welcome. Now, for house cleaning purposes, this video is not about pleading a case to change the minds of the women who are envious and jealous. Those women are insecure to the bone, and they are not happy with their personal lives. And those women have already made up their hearts and their minds about their intentions to make you feel unsafe. And they have already made it their mission and their business to come for your neck when they feel threatened. And if you have been rocking with this channel for more than a minute, you will already know that these monitoring spirits are a permanent part of the feminine and the hypergamous journey. So those women can all go argue with their ashy ankles and their tattered wigs because they are absolutely not like us, and I am about to talk about the quiet parts that are not supposed to be said out loud. Now, like many of you, I have been following the details of this Jordan Peele House of Horrors Freako case, and to see a very pregnant Cassie give her very stomach-churning testimony to purge and to help paint a very vivid picture of the terror and the sexual deviancy that she has experienced at the hands of the diddler. To make it very plain, my feminine divine absolutely needed recovery. And it has been nothing short of a miracle that this woman has not only survived this, but has brought 2 beautiful children into the world, with 1 on the way. But this video is more about helping you to understand the steroid levels of what girl-on-girl crime is rooted in, as both the cases of Cassie and the case of Megan Thee Stallion versus the now Swiss cheesed up angry leprechaun have brought out a level of unprecedented, visceral, ugly amongst women, who for the most part that we naturally expect to be our gender peers when it comes to male violence against women. Naturally, as women, we expect to be one band, one sound when it comes to abuse and harassment from men, but instead we are finding out that many women are very dedicated to being gender Judases, and we are here to talk about why is that? The thing is, as women, we expect a toxic reaction from the men who are committed to misunderstanding Cassie, because abuser mindsets stick together like Velcro, and we expect the nasty and the snide comments and the platformed hate from the unattractive men, from the insecure, weak, and poor men who don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, and we expect the radicalization of men who are aligned with red pill rhetoric and misogynistic values. But what we don't expect as women are the offensive amount of devaluing, victim blaming, and victim shaming, and the unapologetic hive mind of attack that is coming from women. And for the longest time, I too have been scratching my head wondering why. Why do so many women hate women who are physically harmed by men? As women, we are the physically weaker sex. So why do so many women lack compassion for women who have been clearly violated, abused, and humiliated by men who are supposed to protect us? And the hate from women has become so aggressive that they are now willing to platform their hate for the hive mind and to do a misogynistic man's dirty work, that they will even go out of their way to mock, to make fun of, and to fully blame a woman for the violence that is perpetuated against her. And for those of us who are on the receiving end of this hate, it is a fever dream of confusion, because it simply does not feel natural for women to hate each other this much. Now, this is not to say that a woman cannot be wrong. Of course, a woman can be wrong, and of course, a woman can make poor choices throughout her life. But neither Cassie or Megan have murdered anyone. Megan Thee Stallion did not shoot herself with a gun. Cassie did not get caught drowning any puppies, and all that Meghan Markle ever did was marry a prince. So why are so many women so angry at these women, and why do so many women want these women to go away? Now, if you have been with the New Feminine for a minute, I have always taught the free 99 game that women are competitive and comparative when it comes to the attention of men and a man's resources. But turns out they are also super Hunger Games level vicious when it comes to the power of the male gaze, as the male gaze is the entry point of how a woman gets selected, chosen, adored, worshipped, pedestalized, invested in, and taken care of by the masculine divine. So the male gaze turns out is way more genetically powerful than we have been led to believe. So in a ways, getting a man's attention is the gateway to receiving the benefits of his resources, aka hypergamy. So in many ways, a man's resources is connected to a woman's ability to thrive in hypergamy. And this in turn activates competition amongst women. This is why there are a zillion and one how to be more attractive, how to be more sexy, how to be more mysterious, and how to get a man's attention videos that are heavily circulated on YouTube, because this type of content is deeply rooted in the very coveted male gaze, because being picked and invested in for love is considered the ultimate goal with most women who desire a happy ending of marriage and a family. So going against women who are being harmed by men at first glance might seem irrational, but when you connect it to the male gaze and a woman's ability to get chosen over other women, it makes all of the sense in the world for hateful, resentful women who are not the benefactors of the male gaze to relish in the degradation, the humiliation, and the downfall of women who are on a pedestal, or women who have been the easiest benefactors of the male gaze versus women who aren't. This, in a nutshell, is the girl-on-girl crime and the war that insecure women and groups of insecure women, the toxic hive mind, who will trauma bond together to wage war against women who are the benefactors of their pretty privilege. And here are a few examples of girl-on-girl crime that is rooted in the male gaze. For example, if a woman is not a clear benefactor of the male gaze, she will wage war on that woman to destroy her reputation, to devalue her in the eyes of men. Negative attention works in two ways. The attention goes to the person being negative, and she also gets to destroy any woman who sits on the pedestal of this privilege. And yes, this is a dirty, nasty game, but somebody has to do it. Another example is siding with that angry, violent midget who shot a woman in the foot is rooted in the male gaze, as Megan Thee Stallion is a hypersexual rap star with a whole lot of body and a whole lot of curves and a whole lot of sex energy, and she is a woman amongst many women who have used her body and her talent to get paid. So therefore, in the minds of the insecure, she deserves to have her reputation destroyed, and she deserves to be violently harassed and bullied. And I'm going to put you on some game here, because when a woman does not like you or your pretty privilege, the first thing that a bitter hag or a bitter hag junior is going to do is to try to ruin your reputation. Women are physically the weaker sex, and they can't just go around fighting everyone. So they fight with their words by destroying and by devaluing your reputation when they don't like you. And when the hate don't work, they start to tell lies. This is the main strategy of the male worshiping hooligan, or the woman who doesn't get male attention when it comes to girl-on-girl crime. And finally, the Cassie knew what it was pretzel logic is also rooted in the male gaze. The rationale is that this woman of color deserves to suffer because she relied on her pretty privilege for resources and opportunity, aka hypergamy. And therefore, it is her fault that Diddy mercilessly essayed her, coerced her, drugged her up, and physically abused her. It is the whole, how dare she use her pretty privilege logic to be hypergamous to help jumpstart her music career. And it is the whole, how dare she use her pretty privilege to social climb, to improve her status and her stature and the odds of her future. And now that her truth is fully out with her testimony in the minds of insecure women who already hate her pretty privilege, it is the How dare she even get more attention for being rescued by her husband? And how dare she even get more spotlight attention for being abused, for getting restitution for her pain? And to add insult to injury, she also gets to go home to a loving, supportive, and good-looking husband, a loving family, and her 2 beautiful children, with one on the way. In the warped minds of women who go against women, Cassie should be permanently labeled as damaged goods. She should suffer forever. And in the minds of the warped, it is completely unfair that after all of that vile energy that she was subjected to, that she gets to be with a male protector who honors, cherishes her, and who came to her rescue. The burn. The women who criticize and drag Cassie are not focused on how Diddy abused her. They are more focused on the benefits of her pedestal, the yacht life, the personal chefs, the bags, the vacations, and they are more angry about the fact that they themselves are not going to experience that more than likely in their lifetimes. And this is how male-centered birds think. Now, rationally, we all know that beautiful women suffer. And we all know that not all beautiful women get a happy ending. I would argue that many do not. But women who are not receivers of the male gaze do not care about that. And I've been doing this work with women long enough to understand that not getting attention from men or being invisible to desirable men who have the ability to take care of you literally hurts women more than you can ever imagine, because to be invisible for your beauty is a very painful thing to experience, which explains why so many women can be so viciously nasty and cutthroat to each other. Now, I've always said this on my platform, but women are the flowers of the world, and flowers need water and they need attention, or they will wither. This includes your mother, your auntie, your cousin, your grandmother. Women need attention, and women who wither on the vine can be some of the most nastiest, gutter snipe, miserable women on the planet. Don't believe me? Take note of the difference in attitudes between the women in your family who are considered beautiful and the women who aren't. Or read the social media comments and you will see entire trauma bonding communities that are built off of trashing women who get attention and investment from men over other women. Need even further proof? Look at your own feminine journey, the weight loss, the beautification, being courted by better men, getting married to a provider, and watch how your gender peers turn on you like a corner, and how that girl-on-girl crime is activated when the male gaze is actively upon you. And all women, no matter what they look like, have vanity, because vanity for us is like strength for men. All women want to be perceived as beautiful, and all men want to be perceived as strong, even the weak ones. So when a woman cannot be the outright benefactor of the male gaze, she will wage war. And what I've noticed are 2 very distinct ways. She will either wage a crusade and an agenda and a hill to die on, trying to destroy the pedestal of beauty and those who get to sit easily on it, or she will side with misogynistic men and become a male-centered bird, otherwise known as a pick-Misha boots, in hopes of getting the male scraps of attention that they wouldn't otherwise get by going to bat for men. And this is how bottom shelf, menace to society men like Tory Lanez get to weaponize their female fan bases, who are often so thirsty for male attention that they would do anything to get Megan to hate herself. And depending on the day, these confused women seem to go back and forth between trying to destroy the pedestal and being a pick-me boot in hopes of becoming the apple of any man's eye. Now, the third and most healthiest option, of course, will be to entirely get away from the toxic hive mind that seeks to harm women for male attention by getting a feminine education, and to do the personal work of becoming the best feminine version of yourself, no matter what you look like. Because I guarantee you, ladies, that is the only way that you are going to win at this feminine game. Otherwise, you run the flunky risk of following any shrieking harpy and her bitter agenda over a loser cliff. So that is all that I have to say on this for now. The girl-on-girl crime weirdos and the abuser mindsets have definitely outed themselves with this ongoing case. But to get this conversation started, Are you surprised at how nasty and competitive that women have become with each other over the need for the male gaze? Should more women become one band, one sound, or is that never ever going to happen? Is the male gaze connected to a woman's survival? And on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is it for you to receive male attention? And as always, I thank you for liking, for subscribing, and for sharing the feminine education videos on this channel. And please stay tuned for more videos to come. And I will catch up with you ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers in the next one.
Why didn't Cassie just leave? That's what some of y'all have been posting in support of Diddy. Why didn't she just go? You know, she must have liked the life. She must have liked the money. And I'm like, wow, look at you. You just solved it. Just like that. A criminal case out the court. She could have just gotten up and walked. A man who in the case we have seen is known for threatening people, whether it be with their life or explosions, threats, legitimate, pure, high grade. And you sat there with your big brain and you came up with, why didn't she just get up and go? You know what this feels like, especially with the entire thing being, outed in court. It feels like when you're watching, it's like watching a movie, right? Where the kidnapper kidnaps someone and you know everything they use to keep this person a hostage. And then you go, why are they still there? You see what I'm saying? I know some of you are going to be like, no, but like she went home and she had a chance to leave. He paid for many things. But let's really think about it. We have footage of him assaulting her. Do you know how many times that would have happened off camera? It's trying to leave. And you think the one video that you saw was the only video that what? Critical thinking just left everyone at the same time. Just whoop. Not individually, at the same time. Like it's baffling, but y'all got it. You solved it. Carry on. I personally, I can't begin to understand where maybe y'all are condoning this type of stuff in your private lives. And that's probably what it is. Cause why didn't just leave? Like, what?
Believe me when I say that the only real hedge against becoming a bitter bitch in life is to diversify. Because the number one cause of miserable HAG energy, and I mean that as a gender and age neutral term, is being so wrapped up in any one thing that you develop a scarcity mindset about it. You become envious and resentful because you inherently feel like someone else's success or joy is coming at your expense. If you're too territorial in any one friendship, you're going to become that person who gets jealous and bitter when two of your friends hit it off, when really that should be considered one of the most beautiful things that happens in life. If your entire identity is wrapped up in your job, you're going to feel bitter and overly competitive whenever something good happens to someone else, even if they don't even work at your company. And I had to learn that one the hard way because my main job is in personal finance, and trust me that industry is at least 70% scam artists who continue to fail upwards. And even if there's one aspect of your personal expression that you overly identify with, like your personal style, you're going to become obsessed with other people's and will constantly be comparing your own or feeling threatened when someone looks better than you. The point is, overinvesting in any one area of your life is going to cause a scarcity mindset almost by default because we live in an ultra-competitive society. So the more we diversify the parts of our life that make us feel good and validated and like ourselves, the less likely it will be that any one of them will become an unhealthy obsession, and therefore a source of bitterness and envy if someone is doing better than you.